I'm Sheryl Plouffe. Glad you're here for an update on your weather, and we'll get to that in a moment. I want to show you some active weather, some pretty alarming scenes from Texas, in fact. This is some must-see video from Hill County, Texas. Look at that. The driver of that vehicle did get out safely. It was just the vehicle actually making its way down that flood water. Let's take a look at what's happening here at home with regard to weather. We know that the conditions are actually pretty favorable for biking. Let's turn it over to Kelly right now. All right, thanks so much for that, Kelly. Yeah, fabulous conditions. The next many days, it's going to be above average for temperatures. And let's turn it over now to Kevin Yard, as a lot of us suffer from allergies this time of year. All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Yeah, our furry friends all have allergies this time of year. Let's take a look at our short-term forecast. Possibly some showers today to contend with. Really, it's all about the heat and the building humidity. Over the next few days, we're going to feel very, very warm with that flow, mostly sunny conditions as we head into Thursday, Friday. Then it becomes less humid and really setting ourselves up for potentially so much cooler air by next week. But for the time being, we've got the mugginess with us, and that's going to continue through the bulk of the work week ahead. The forecast temperatures looking ahead to Friday, we've got values here in the mid to high 20s. Keep in mind with that humidity, we're talking values here that we'll be feeling more so in the high 20s and maybe even the low 30s. So for those who have trouble breathing with those types of conditions, then that's exactly what's in store today. So you might want to seek out some air conditioning. But the humidity, the showers and the storms will be in place across southern Ontario, so we're going to have to watch for that. That will make way for some cooler air by the time we get into the early part of next week, some colder air coming in from northern Canada. A great initiative, no doubt about that. Thank you so much for that, Rachel. Let's get you caught up with our weather conditions. But first, though, take a break and join up with Kevin Yard talking pets and allergies. Thank you so much for that, Kevin. We have a rainfall forecast. Notice how it's mostly northern Ontario seeing the bulk of the higher amounts of rain. And today, even tomorrow, risk of the storms. So actually, this map will likely be similar for Tuesday. If you like heat and you like humidity, then you will love this forecast because that's what we've got in store this week. And I will fill you in on the complete forecast in just a moment, though. Let's take a look, though. Clean up that oil spill from last week. Here at home, on the other hand, we do have heat, humidity. That's really the story as we head through this week. Let's turn it over to Kelly Noseworthy outside. All right, thanks so much, Kelly. Let's turn it over to our forecast conditions, though, because what is taking hold this week? Well, we've got a nice flow of warmer air and some increased humidity on the way. This is the short-term forecast. For the overnight, tomorrow's a fair day. We've had some showers because the low is actually tracking more up in this direction. So northern Ontario set to see between 15 and 30 millimeters of rain. For us, we really are just seeing some passing showers, pretty light. Ottawa and Montreal, though, on the other hand, seeing some rainfall later today. There is the risk for non-severe thunderstorms in southwestern Ontario. We do have the increasing humidity, and that's really going to be the story for the most part of this work week. At times, we have the risk of storms. I would say that risk continues tomorrow once again, very similar in pattern to that yellow map you saw a moment ago for southern Ontario. The SPC, which is the Storm Prediction Center in the U.S., does take that risk up into Michigan. So if we just extrapolate that across southern Ontario, they're also in agreement that there could be some instability. So the look ahead, low pressure system is moving away. We have at times some showers. Watch in Ottawa, Montreal, like I said, so we get some rainfall headed in that direction, but today's daytime highs are above average. Okay, thank you very much for that, Rachel. It's an important topic, but it's one of those squeamish things, right? Let's take a look, though. Speaking of problems with regard to, well, not so much ticks or insects, but allergies and our pets. Here's Kevin Yard. Thanks so much for that, Kevin. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. What's in store? Well, look at these humidex readings, right? The feels like temperature, or at least that's what it feels like. It's actually an index, so it's not an actual temperature, but feeling like 30. That's pretty warm. Now, when will that stop? Well, it's not until the weekend, the end of the weekend, that we have some cooler air on the way. And here are the long-range highlights for us in the GTA as we look ahead. Some summer weather expected this week. It's also going to get cooler by the end of the weekend, the early start of next week, because of high pressure building in from the north, and a period of unsettled weather is ahead this weekend as a result of those changes that will be happening. So what about the weekend pattern? You can actually see it here, this cool air over the northern portion of the Great Lakes Basin. But you can see right along that boundary, it's uncertain. I mean, this could oscillate. Even a difference of, 50, 100 kilometers would make a big, big difference on who sees storms and who sees active weather. But generally, this is the pattern that we can see, where it's warm in the west and cool for us in the east, including possibly here in southern Ontario. The highlights for this week, though, we talked about this at the top, that it's going to be a humid week for the most part. Some areas will be seeing humidex readings in the low 30s. Now, we haven't seen a lot of that so far this spring, so do be mindful of that. If that's something that is oppressive to you, then you're going to have to find some air conditioning, or going to the shopping mall or the library are some great options to stay away from the heat and humidity, but the mugginess will continue. Notice there is also going to be, day by day, the risk for some thunderstorms because of the instability that could ensue from the heat and humidity this week.